Okay, so I was just twisting my brain about the fact that Eren was always behind every single shot, guys. It's actually like right now while I'm thinking about it, it's very crazy to me because it makes you wonder what was it that like, and it's interesting though. Except no, okay. I started thinking about, oh yeah, was Eren's reaction to finding out about Reina and Bertold, was it real? And obviously, it was real because the thing of the matter is the one that comes in the back is his future self. So his future self knows, the one in the moment does not know. Yeah, the one in the back. I mean, the one in the back knows. The one in the living in the present time does not know. But it's still weird though, and that's why like Attack on Titan is crazy and it's complex, and it's like I start thinking like there's so many theories to be had, and it's one of those shows. And I think people say to watch Attack on Titan you need to have emotional intelligence, and if you don't, then you can't really watch it because that means like if you don't get the show, then basically you're slow. Do you know what I mean? Not that I believe that because I don't. Like, I think, you know what I mean? Like, everybody should watch whatever. Do you know what I mean? I meant as in any anime, you can watch it. Even though, of course, I do generally also think that there is like beginner animes. Like, that discussion, I definitely agree with that because obviously, like, you don't want to throw yourself into an anime that you're not ready for. Do you know what I mean? Like, even for instance, when I watched Monster, like not too long ago, it was like, oh, I would not have wanted Monster to be my beginner anime because it traumatized me, but not like not anything crazy. I didn't have nightmares, but I just thought the anime was really like it was really deep, and I binge watched that anime as well. So it's like I also I also was watching that like a lot, and I was like to myself like Monster is a crazy show because it's really like, although obviously Johan's at the forefront of it, you realize that like a lot of other people around you, they are also monsters as well. That's the funny thing. Like that's what Monster, that's the type of anime it is. It wants you to be like, oh yeah, there's a villain at the front of this, by the way, but there's also all these other people who they also have issues. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I never thought that Tenma was a bad guy, even though he struggled with wanting to commit murder every so often. So that was a bit weird. And so that's why it was even like foretelling and telling us that, you know, if somebody like Tenma, a doctor, by the way, somebody who saves lives, if he could be like, you know, on the edge or in doubt, then that means any one of us could be, basically. Crazy how, you know, in this episode, guys, I haven't actually eased you in, but hello. I mean, this episode is about my favorite animes. I've recently just recorded something for my TikTok, so I decided, do you know what I mean? I want a lengthy one. Do you know what I mean? I want a lengthy one. I want to say everything that I can say. I'm also going to add my honorable mentions because I already just did my list, but I'm going to do my honorable mentions as well. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's because I needed to get out about Attack on Titan first. Because obviously Attack on Titan is one of my favorites. I was like, let's just start there. Do you know what I mean? Well, actually, Attack on Titan is where we're beginning because honestly, there's a lot to even dive in on that anime, so why is that not our best place to start? All the rest of them, yeah, are all like, do you know what I mean? Like they're fine, they're my favorites, but they're minor, they're separate issues. Attack on Titan is complex, like I said earlier, and it's like I just, whoa, it's just crazy. And to believe it's finished. And when when it finished, I was just like, I don't know. Like, you think with a show like Attack on Titan, maybe either way, it would leave you underwhelmed. I don't know, for some reason. Just because it's such a big program. That's what I think. And I think that happens a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think anything that is as big as that will have you being like, oh, you know what I mean? It will have you opening up your mind. It's giving like, yeah, opening up your inner eye or something. And you're like, oh, they could touch on this. They could touch on that. When it's like, bro, things have to end. You know what I mean? Like, remember when Attack on Titan did the end thing? And you were like, whoa. So many years of this show and they just went the end. We were like, wow, that's crazy. It's already finished. It's already finished. And you know what's crazy? You think to yourself how it ends. We're just like, oh, yeah, again, would Eren have been able to see that's how it would have ended? That's my question. Did he know? You mean to say he might have known and he didn't prevent his own death? That's crazy work. How could he be able to know and not do that? Or he was happy with how it was unfolding, so he decided to leave it as is. But that's what I mean. With the way that he is, I thought to myself, if he would be able to know he's going to die, then he would prevent it. That's my thing. But hey, I thought he would prevent it. But if he didn't want to, that's his own thing. Do you know what I mean? He didn't want to live. That's cool. Up to you then. Really, generally up to you. Okay, I'm done with my rant. But like, yes, Eren is a weird I was gonna say multicultural, but a weird not even multicultural, sorry, multifaceted, because I always get muddled up actually with that word, but it's just multifaceted because he has so many different layers. And I guess he's the type of character that you think that you know a lot about, but it turns out you actually don't know anything about them at all. I think that happens quite a lot, like when it comes to complex characters anyways. You think on the surface that you know them, and like I suppose even with Eren as well. I remember when I was watching Attack on Titan and I was like, yeah, first of all, I thought I knew who he was. I thought he was just your average angry MC, but obviously no. I thought he was your average angry MC, and I generally just thought like that I thought he was gonna stay pure, which is weird. Pure and innocent forever. But then I think with a show like Attack on Titan, you don't know what's gonna happen, like when you're in it. Like even when you're in a show like it and you think Attack on Titan, and like when Attack on Titan starts, like what is the show about? They're all in a village and like, do you know what I mean? And they're all cut off from the place and there's different walls and like, you know what I mean? It's all this kind of prison stuff, and we're like, oh, what is this show actually about? And then obviously the whole thing happens where obviously they are invaded and then it becomes crystal clear. But obviously, like I was saying earlier, like, yeah, like I just think that how is it that Eren had a way that he probably like knew all of these different things? How did he know all of these different things? And how did he know how did he know these things? And how, like, yeah, season 4 was crazy. I want to think to myself, do I have like, because actually before I move on from Attack on Titan, yeah, but I might pick it up again, is that like I want to think what's my favorite season of Attack on Titan. And I feel like it may, like crazy, I was going to say, it may be the last one. Although, I think a lot of people say they didn't really enjoy that one because, I don't know, it had a lot of different mixed reviews. I heard people saying that they thought it was quite rushed. And then also, like, I don't know, like, I heard a lot of different stuff, as you do in the anime community. And I generally thought that, you know, I didn't have any issues with it. But maybe I would say, actually, if I did have to pick, maybe even let me quickly have a quick skim. But dive back in and let me really think about it. I'd be like, bro, like, wow, season 4 was crazy. I'd be like, oh, yeah. I really liked season 3, actually. Yeah, I really liked season 3. And I really liked... Okay, so really basically, fine. If I really, like, I don't want to say season 4, because obviously that's the last one. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, boo. But maybe I would have to say either season 2 or 3. Yeah, probably. I just didn't want to say season 4 because you're like, oh, of course the last one's your favorite. But then I think when you have a show as well that, like, it can be hard to really say which is your favorite, because, do you know what I mean? You either want to say season 1 is your favorite, or you either want to be like, the last one's your favorite, because exactly, the last one is the finale. It's all the stuff being like, all the stuff being added, like, but all the loopholes being completed, and it just has all this different stuff that I feel like you'd say to yourself, oh yeah, I liked the last season. But, you know, and then actually, you know what's funny? Of course, actually, before everything goes crazy, I really actually did like season 1, because of course that was a time when it felt like, do you know what I mean? It felt like nothing was really happening all that crazy. And then actually, remember, if I have to say actually my favorite scene anyway, now that's a different separate conversation, right? My favorite scene would probably be when when Zeke started speaking in the Beast Titan. My guy said, oh, you guys can move now. I was like, what? I was like, what are you saying? What do you mean they can move? That was very scary. Like, exactly. Zeke's a very scary character, but that was probably, I would have to say that's my favorite scene. I've got to be honest. And then you think of something like, of course, yeah, you got to think of something like Eren starting the rumbling, or even what's the word? Or even then Reiner and Bertolt's reveal. You probably say that too. Also, an honorable mention, actually. An honorable mention favorite scene would probably also be when they find out about Annie. I'm sorry. That one was so good, because Annie was unbothered. You know, she wasn't like Reiner and Bertolt, even though of course they were also a bit unbothered as well. They were like, oh yeah. They were like, Watcher was like, oh yeah, Rainer's the armored titan, and I'm the colossal. They were like, oh okay, all nonchalant. But Annie was more like, I feel like hers was more so like, you know, like more no fucks given, more like, oh my gosh, you guys found me out, but I really don't care. And then she started giggling as well. So I was like, oh, hers takes the cake, because she was not bothered. She said, yes, I am the female titan. What are you going to do about it? And then obviously then she just starts to transform. Do you get it? She was just like, okay. And then but of course I feel like with Annie's, actually you feel so sorry, because I feel like Emperor Armin liked her, and it was a whole little thing. It was a whole little thing. And he was like, no, Annie, what do you mean? And we said, sorry, that's not your girl, bro. That's not your girl. We're sorry. I know that you thought she was, but it's just not gonna work out that way. I know that I can literally hop on about Attack on Titan forever, but we should move on to my others, right? We should give my others their flowers, their room to really, really be in the equation, like be here and take up space. It's because I'm trying to think about, I was trying to think about my order, but I'm saying I think we should try to talk about, like, I'm going to talk about Windbreaker now, because basically I'm trying to think about how, you know, my favorite animes, and I'm like, which ones are the softest and which ones are the more, like, you know, like shonen, and you're like, but then really, really you're like, you know, I feel like, exactly, if I had to think about my favorite genre in anime, it probably would be, what's it called? Slice of Life. Do you know what I mean? I love Slice of Life. Slice of Life is so good. Slice of Life and the beach episode, yes, chef's kiss. I need that. So exactly, like I love a bit of shonen. That's why I'm saying it's good to, in terms of the order, me moving on to Windbreaker seems like a great idea. I'm like, Windbreaker is also, do you know what I mean? Windbreaker is also a, like, actually, let me even see. We're like Windbreaker. I think Windbreaker, thing. I think it is one. Like, it is a shonen, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, exactly. It's a shonen manga. It's like others like Tokyo Revengers. And obviously, yes, on the subject of that, I liked Tokyo Revengers. So before I got into Windbreaker, I really, really liked Tokyo Revengers. And then obviously, exactly, I found Windbreaker, and I was so glad. I was so glad to find Windbreaker because I needed it. So I just needed after, like, obviously, yeah, Tokyo Revengers not being on for such a long time, I needed another story that had, like, just exactly good delinquent violence. You know what I mean? Like, just a bunch of kids fighting. And then not even, like, exactly, when you think about the two main characters from Windbreaker and Tokyo Revengers, you feel like Takamichi, he's more like, like, what is it? His whole thing was that he was a crybaby, right? And then, exactly. But no, I'm like, yeah, cool. But Sakura's one as a character, he more interests me because he's quite like, what do you call it? He's close, like he's hard to warm up type person. Yeah, he needs a bit of time to fully, like, really let down his walls. I like that about him. He's a bit of like, I don't know, actually. I was gonna say no, that's weird. I was gonna say Tanjiro, and I was like, no, because Tanjiro's very, like, he's very, very happy and very nice. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know why people hate on Tanjiro, like, but I mean the people in the anime. I don't actually mean the community. I mean the people in there. Like the Hashuras. I don't know why they hate him. Like, he's just a happy-go-lucky guy. What's your issue? Like, but yeah, I just mean with Sakura, I just mean that he's very, I think that he's very cold. That's what I mean. So I don't know who I was actually thinking of. Maybe like, oh yeah, maybe like Inosuke more so, actually. Because exactly, if we're still on the subject of, yeah, comparing two characters, I feel like it would be him and Inosuke, because yeah, like Inosuke doesn't even seem like, he doesn't show affection to, like, Zenitsu and Tanjiro, like, barely, not at all. But like, he cares for them though. But and he's never gotten Tanjiro's name right ever. Like, he's always been, like, close, but he's never gotten the mark. So do you see what I mean? He's that type of person. And, like, even Sakura's like that too. I mean, he just has a hard time of, like, being loved. Yeah, being loved and thinking that he's deserving of love. Actually, if we were to compare him with someone, actually, also probably would be Rudo from Gattaca. Guys, we'll talk about Gattaca later. But yeah, like, it would probably be somebody like Rudo. Someone who's just very, like, like, they haven't been treated kindly by others, so they don't really want to let down their walls to let people in. That was the first thing that like, obviously Sakura had, and when he got into the new school in Windbreaker, he was basically just being like, I don't want to talk to any of these people, and I also want to be the strongest, blah 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 blah. And then he realized, oh, all that strongest stuff is like, it's like, you don't need that. You basically just need your community. You just need your pals. And I mean, I was like, yeah, exactly. Of course you do. And that's why I really like that whole anime, and I really like that whole ensemble. With Windbreaker, let's address I was gonna say the elephant in the room, but of course there's that whole thing about how what's it called, that the Windbreaker webtoon was cancelled and removed off Webtoon due to confirmed allegations of tracing and artistic plagiarism. And then so I do think after hearing about those allegations, Windbreaker is like, exactly, we don't know. I mean, we do know, kind of, because actually what I just said, we do know. Because they're saying that, yeah, look, it says, even on Google, it says, is Windbreaker cancelled? And it says the manhwa has been cancelled due to plagiarism. And even, bro, it says due to confirmed plagiarism, not even alleged. Anyways, but the Japanese anime series Windbreaker is not cancelled. So it's saying the anime, based on a different manga by a different creator, is still ongoing, and the second season has been announced, which is really interesting, I suppose. While we're on the subject, like, that's really interesting. That, I mean, it was at risk of or well, obviously no, it has been cancelled on Webtoon, but I mean that they're still obviously going to go ahead with it. They're still going to go ahead with it as its storyline. I obviously, in my head, I was like, oh yeah, of course. When I heard about the news, of course, I was like, yeah, I don't want them to finish Windbreaker, because, I mean, stop making Windbreaker, because, of course, like, even in doing this list, I was like, Windbreaker is one of my favorites, and if they don't continue to make it, then, like, I just don't know. Even though, like, craziest thing, I'm like, there's so many animes in the world to watch, but it's not even a thing like that. I'm just like, I think obviously I've grown attached to, like, a lot of the characters, which you do in anime. Like, do you know what I mean? You really do gain an attachment to them. So that's basically why, you know what I mean, when you start watching one, you basically just want the story to continue, and you also want it to reach a close as well. Shout out to Hunter x Hunter. Like, shout out to Hunter x Hunter. But it's okay, because actually it's fine, because Hunter x Hunter is going to be getting written again. And Hunter x Hunter is going to be being obviously picked up again. And same way with Nana as well, which we will get onto as well. But so, like, both of those are both in talks of being picked up again, but who knows when. This is the craziest thing. Who knows when we'll get them? You know what I'm saying? This is the thing, actually, that's my probably only, like, I want to say it's a flaw, but then I also think that, and as a, probably, for myself, I think, as a writer myself, I know stories can take a long time, and I think with animes especially also, there's a lot of things that go into them as well, and I think to myself, like, exactly, they're even more harder than just your average normal stories. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, I mean, from experience, I'm saying that they're even more difficult, because it's all the storyboarding, and it's all the animation, and it's all of the, like, it's all about the perfect ending. Like, honestly, writers I'm joking, writers just have this thing where we're like, we want the perfect ending, and if we don't have it, then no one is seeing this thing. Nobody is seeing it. No one's getting it in this lifetime. You're just not getting it, because if it's not where it's supposed to be, then yeah. And we, as I feel like, anyways, as creators, we are our harshest critics. And it's the honest truth. And that's why it's such a it's such a delayed process. But then I just think that is what the creative process is, not even to make this into some kind of, like, lecture talk, because you guys are like, I want to hear about the animes, but I'm just saying, I think that it's like, it's a thing which you can't necessarily always control. So, not even like me being like, oh my god, they should hurry up and finish writing them. I'm like, I get it. I actually get it. It's fine. I'll wait. I'll be here. Like, this is the thing. It's even what I thought about, yes, after seeing the Demon Slayer movie, and then I was like, oh, the Demon Slayer movie, yeah, they still have, like, I think they're splitting it, of course, in them defeating Mugen, and I was like, fine, don't worry, it's okay. I'll still be here, and I was like, it's fine. We're all not going anywhere. Anytime soon. But, like, so I was like, sure, I'm 23 now. I was like, okay, like, probably when it comes out, I may even be, 25? I don't know. But I was like, that's fine. That's fine. And people make it seem like that your interests have to, like, change over time, or, like, you know what I mean? I've never liked that. I saw something like that the other day, where somebody was saying, like, people were saying, oh yeah, no, it's that girl on TikTok, and she usually talks about anime, and so she was saying, yes, it's like, she wanted to be she's glad that she's the age she is now. She's able to buy all the anime stuff that she needs. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, same. Because it's like, as kids, we didn't get those stuff, but we now have money where we're able to buy it for ourselves. And just because we grow up, it doesn't mean our interests have to like fade, or we have to like let go of them. We think that we do, but that's not the case at all. They're like, seriously, people will be like, oh my god, you're 30 and you're still playing video games. We said okay. Like, what do you mean? Because video games are universal. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like I hate when people want to put people in boxes. And I think, of course, I've said to you guys about how my biggest knack is like, it's like when people say, oh, a kid's film is just a kid's film. And we're like, no, it's not. It's for everyone. And if I feel like it, I will watch it. What are you going to tell me about it? Do you know what I mean? You're going to tell me that I can't watch it? Yeah, sure, buddy. But yeah, I think that's one of my biggest, it's one of my biggest ones anyways. My biggest peeves. Imagine if I made an episode about my biggest peeves. I'm joking. I wouldn't want to do that to you guys. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It would be a moan, man. I just don't need it. I don't need it. But I'm just saying that is my peeve, because I'm just like, no. So it's like, I think to myself, sure. I think, yeah, society's programmed to have us that way. Like, sometimes I think that too. And I think, oh, as I age, it will be a thing where, like, you know, all my favorite things will still be my favorite things, but I'll just be a bit older. I'll just be a bit older, bit wiser, bit hotter. Oh, sorry. bit hotter, bit, you know. I was like, yeah, but no, but I'm just like, exactly. So, exactly, you know, shout out to you guys. Don't let anybody tell you that. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yes. Yeah, so it's the same thing, like, as I was saying about, yeah, Hunter x Hunter and, like, Nana, and then, I don't know, probably even Windbreaker, actually. You know, add Windbreaker to the list, too, because exactly like I said, we really don't know when they just said, obviously, the thing I just read to you guys is Windbreaker Season 2 will be announced, but, like, who knows when? And that's fine as well, because everybody knows at this very moment, new gen anime is actually it's actually thriving right now. It's in a very, very good place. So it's actually fine. We can literally just what's the word? We can literally just put our teeth into the newest ones today. You know, but yeah, that's what we all got to say about Windbreaker. I'm gonna move on now. That's all I got. That's all I got. But no, like, I just mean Windbreaker's great, and yeah, and I don't know, and also actually, Windbreaker has great animation and great fighting scenes, I feel. Do you know what I mean? So that's why, exactly, when you put like Windbreaker and Attack on Titan next to each other, I just mean in the way of like how they are both very intense, you know? Like, when I'm watching the fighting scenes in Windbreaker, like, I literally don't look away. Like, I'm just there and I'm glued and I'm like, yeah. I'm just like, wow. And I'm like, Sakura fights well. All the group fights well. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, all the team, Furin, anyways. Yeah, Furin is their team. They all fight well, you know? And even the higher-ups of Furin. Yeah, they're all, that's squad, you know? And I like, anyways, exactly. Animes that have groups are just great, you know? That's another thing. They're all so wonderful, right? Think Hero Academia. Think Sailor Moon. Think Neon Genesis. Do you know what I mean? You need your squad basically all the time. You know what I mean? And a main character, that's what I mean. A main character has so many layers. They look like they can do it all on their own, but that's the thing, that they cannot. And it's time and time again they'll do that, actually. Time and time again they'll act like they're actually fine, but they're not. And like I was saying about Sakura, that's what makes him so lovable. Again, Sakura, Eren, Rudo, just make them so lovable because they're full of so much anger. But it's misdirected anger, though. It's misdirected. They're angry at the world. They're not angry at people around them, but then it appears that way. But that's not what it is. Like, that's not what it is all. Like, do you know what I mean? They just need a little help. A little help from their friends. Shout out to the Beatles. So we touched on Nana earlier. that is where we're at now. We touched on Nana earlier. That is where we're at. And I'm obviously going to combine Nana and Paradise Kiss together because they're by the same creator. So that just makes sense. Exactly. Shout out to Ai Yozawa. She's great. You know, she's great. She took a well-deserved hiatus and she came back. Do you know what I mean? This is what we do. And I'm like, me being me, I've taken hiatus on here before as well. So hiatuses are good for you. They're good for the soul. You need them. You need to come back and you need to refresh, or you need to reset. Better yet, that's the better word. And then you can just come back and you can just be able to be at your absolute best. Obviously, yeah. Also, with Nana, I've been reading the mangas. Yeah, I've been reading the mangas, and I'm hoping that by the time I reach there, I'm thinking there should be some new ones out. Hopefully. I'm in no rush. Do you know what I mean? Like, as I said, I'm in no rush. I'm saying I'm only on like volume 2. So, or now, actually, no, I finished 2 the other day. Well, I mean 3. Technically, I'm on 3. So I'm like, no worries, Aizawa. Like, honestly, take your time. when I get there, then it's like a new manga will be waiting for me. Oh gosh, that will be great. It will feel like Christmas, honestly. It will feel like Christmas. I'll be like, wow, I've been waiting for this. Like, I've been waiting for this for so long. But anyways, like, let's touch on Nana a bit. But, like, yeah, it's funny because people are like, I don't know if I've really shipped Nana and Nana. I mean, of course, kind of. We all can agree on one thing, that Nana Osaki will treat her better than Takumi, but that's completely obvious. Anyone would treat her better than him. Do you know what I mean? Anyone in the world would treat him better than him, because, you know, we said if there was a worst boyfriend list, he'd be at the top. There's actually no way. Okay, it wouldn't even be a competition. Imagine a loser boyfriend competition. We said, yeah, Takumi's winning that, no question. Even though when you hear stories about like boyfriends and girlfriends, you're like, there are scary horror stories. Like, what do you mean your boyfriend cheated on you with your sister? Wrap it up. Like, that's why we think about Takumi as the ultimate villain. But when I hear about real life people, I'm like, no. It even makes you think Takumi has nothing on them, and that's very terrifying. Like, it makes you think that for a second. You have a lapse and you're like, wait. You're like, actually, there's more terrifying people out there. You don't even know it. But no, like, it's crazy. And I'll never get over the fact that it's exactly like Nobu was the best person for her. Like, honestly, he would have been. And of course, and Nana's just had, like, when I was reading volume 1, I was like, oh my gosh, I get Hachi so much. I was like, she has horrible, like, bro, I was like, she has a horrible taste in men. But I get it, because this is what I mean. I've always said that before, and I think it's even like, I saw a video, I suppose, on how Aizawa writes about love, and it's basically the fact that exactly, like, we all do this. It's even like when I watched He's Just Not Into You, like, yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, he's just not that into you, and I was like, that film makes so much sense, because it's just like, you know, we probably like have a thing where we idolize the perfect, we idolize the perfect guy, but then it's like we forget all the other signs as well. Even Hachi and both Yukari, they both have those in common as well. Like, they both look like Yukari goes after George, like, and we're like, George never really liked you. Like, you know, even when I was watching Paradise Kiss, of course I shipped Yukari and George. But in the overall picture, he didn't like her. Not really. She was also basically just, I saw a thing the other day on TikTok, someone said, yeah, she was just his muse. There was nothing else to it. He didn't really find her that, like, like, he wasn't exactly, he wasn't in love with her, and that's the thing. Like, I think that's the whole message. It's the idea that, like, we'll think somebody's in love with us, but they're not. It's like they're infatuated with the idea of us, but they don't love us. It's not that they love us, they just like the idea. Really. That's what it is. That's really what it is. And I'm like, obviously when when you read the book, when you read the manga, I mean, and you just look at Hachi as a character, you just think, like, she has this thing of, which a lot of us tend to do, which is, I don't know, a guy carries our groceries and we're like, wow, that is wonderful. But I feel like, and I guess, again, even when I was watching He's Just Not That Into You, I was like, I think that those stereotypes now are outdated anyway, because I was like, we all don't do that anymore. Like, I was like, sure, the dating pool, right? I was like, yeah, it's bad. And it's actually the baddest it's ever been. Well, let's move on. It's the baddest it's ever been. But I was like, oh, but I don't think us women, I don't think that we view relationships like that anymore. You know what I mean? I don't think that we have that mindset, because I think that a lot of us do think that we deserve better. Not exactly, not even like, obviously, someone like Hachi. She doesn't, because of course not. Because of course, if she knew, if she was like, what's the word, self-aware or any of those things, of course she would know that Takumi's not her match. But she doesn't know that, you see. So that's the whole thing, and that happens to us because I think we forget about the love in ourselves as people, and then the love we're giving out to somebody else. But we have to, like, this is the thing. I think it's hard sometimes when you don't give it out equally. You just give it out more. I think that can be very tricky. Like, I know that is, again, that's Hachi's problem. But then, as I mean, it's a lot of our problems too. Like, it's like how I said, when I was reading, obviously, Hachi's whole thing, I was like, I see myself in Hachi, I see myself in Yukari, and I see myself in Gigi from He's Just Not That Into You. I was like, of course. But I guess with He's Just Not That Into You also, I was like, I see myself in Gigi because I know what it's like to be almost romantic. I know what that means. I know that life. I know the idea of, I don't know, the idea of exactly, maybe the whole thing that we all say is that wanting somebody to love you more than you love yourself. That's the basic thing. That is the one standout thing, but it's a common theme. Like, it's a common theme, and I just mean it just happens. I laugh, but it's a general serious thing. And I just mean, exactly, none is such a complex story, and I really love it. But I never knew it was going to be so painful. Something like, even Weak Hero, which you guys all know I love, I don't even know why it's like, exactly, you always find yourself in fandoms where they're like a prison. I said, get me out. I don't want to stay here anymore, because I'm not having a good time, really. I'm just reminded of pain. That's all. Nothing more. And even when I see Sion and Suo edits on my TikTok, I'm just like, why won't you let me rest? Why won't you let me have peace? It's just weird. And I just mean, it's like that for Hachi and Nana as well, because in Ideal World, we said at Ideal World they'd be married and they would be happy together, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? And, like, both of them, like, even Osaka, like, she doesn't really have, I wouldn't say she has a really bad love life, because, of course, she was with Ren, and Ren wasn't a bad guy. Not really. I mean, he wasn't. I just mean he had his own issues. That's what I mean. It's not like, oh yeah, he was horrible to her like Takumi is to Hachi, but like it's still like he had his own stuff going on, so he also wasn't that great. Which is why this is what I mean. The main thing is just ditch the guys, be together. We said ditch the guys, be together. Like that's it. And this is what I mean. And I might to myself, they should know that. Like they have the same name, and they also clicked with each other instantly. That's what's so crazy about them two. They met on the train, then they also found themselves at the same house viewing, and they were like, sure man, let's move in together. I was like, excuse you, you guys just met not too long ago as well. I was like, think I'd be doing something like that? No. I'd be moving in with somebody already? I think really that's crazy. You really have to broach people, you can't just move in with somebody just like on a whim. And I think doing stuff like that, exactly, people sometimes don't prepare for this stuff, and then they realize that exactly that you just have lots of issues. I think that's the thing that happens in relationships too. People rush into that whole idea of moving in with one another, but it's like you don't look at the fact that you don't like that he keeps the toilet seat up. I'm like, okay, like you don't look at stuff like that. But then now you're going to have an argument, and then now you're going to break up. But then, sometimes I think, relationships break a bit too easy sometimes. You guys should talk about that, but what I mean? Come to a common ground. You don't have to break up. It's not necessary. Just be saying, really, just grow up. Just sort it out. Do you know what I mean? Grow up, sort it out. Like, that's the thing. It's like, that should make that into a hashtag. Grow up, sort it out. But yeah, I don't know. It's both of those. But that can be hard to do, I say these things, but that can be hard to do. Both of those, by the way. Both of those can be really hard. And anyways, okay, but I want to talk about, I'm talking about the bad, I feel like, in both of these animes, but I feel like exactly the fashion is very great as well. I know that there's that new Vivienne Westwood thing. I know that, the Vivienne Westwood shows, exhibition? Yeah, the exhibition's in London now, I know that for sure. And I know that exactly, well, they're doing a collab, I'm sure. Yeah, they're doing a collab. And Vivienne Westwood is so good. I like that Vivienne Westwood is surrounded by Nana as well, because it's like, when you think Vivienne Westwood, you think Nana. And I'm like, especially, and then I suppose with Paradise Kiss, you basically think you just think of that whole fashion world. And I guess, obviously, Paradise Kiss is more fashion oriented than Nana, because when we look at Nana, it has so many different things. It's basically about music, if you think about it, because we have Ahsoka who's in her band, and then that's what I'm saying. In Paradise Kiss, it's more of more look at the fashion world, more of a fashion lens, if you will. But yeah, more of a fashion lens. So it's more like there's more fashion stuff going on. So I suppose it wasn't like George was supposed to be like a designer or whatever, whatever he was doing. That's the thing in Paradise Kiss. Is there really much what's the word? Is there much emotional stuff going on in it? Obviously I feel in Nana there is more so. The only thing really that was happening in Paradise Kiss is Miwako had that horrible boyfriend. He was so awful to her. I think his name was Araki or something. Yeah, but he was awful, though. He was not nice to her. And she was such a, do you know what I mean? Pink symbolizes cuteness, right? straight off it does. So she was a bundle of joy, and we're just like, what are you doing? Why are you being mean? Why are you being mean to her? Right now, come to the front. How dare you? That's what it was. It was just absolutely crazy. So I suppose it had a lot of that too. But it's more messages about how women get treated in relationships. So exactly. Yeah. And I like that stuff that has balance, because you need it. Give us fashion, give us fashion, give us storyline, give us everything. Give us depth. Give us depth, really. Do you get what I mean? And I guess though I never really understood much why George and Yukari's relationship didn't work out. I mean, more so obviously I said already that he didn't really like her. More so he just saw her as a face, which she had it. You know what I mean? She had face card. We know that. And I feel like, yeah, he saw her as a face, but I never really looked at it, and I never really understood it in a way. Like I was like, oh yeah, why didn't they work? But the thing is, I don't know. In a way, like Paradise Kiss really kind of makes it seem like, yeah, that she chose fashion over him or whatever. But I felt like it sort of rushed it a lot, actually, when I think about it. I did feel like it was quite rushed. Maybe I might need a rewatch, because, you know what I mean? I love a good rewatch. But I mean, I might need one, because I just really don't remember. I don't remember the fundamentals. And of course I know how it ends, but I mean, I don't really get that part. And I mean, maybe I should even pick up the manga, because that's also another idea. That is also another idea. But maybe I would pick up the manga after finishing Nana anyways, because rightly so. Like, honestly, that would be the right thing to do in terms of just, yeah, going after that. And then, oh my gosh, and then Paradise Kiss obviously has that great intro and outro. Like, honestly, it's a crazy thing, I didn't discuss much music, I feel like, in this episode, but obviously Attack on Titan has great music. That's obvious. The Rumbling, and what's the one? My War as well. And also, there's also that outro that I like, but I can't remember its name right now. I also like Yugure no Tori, and that's the one that's in I feel like that might be the season 3 outro, if I'm not sure, but it's that one where, like, obviously it was the little girl who had the apple, so it's that one. Yeah. If there's any really hardcore fans listening, they'll know what I'm talking about. The Attack on Titan people, they'll know. But I'm saying exactly, it's the one with the pitch with the apple, and then it's like na, 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 na. But yeah, that's the song. I was like, let me just hum it for you guys. You'll know it. But yeah, that is the one that I really like from Attack on Titan. And if I have to think about Windbreaker, I'm basically now just going all through them again. But Windbreaker, Windbreaker. Windbreaker doesn't have that bad of an intro, but sometimes intros take a while to grow on me, actually. And then if they have, and actually, wait, hold on, pause. I like the outro more than the intro, so yeah. But that sometimes happens too. It's one of those things. Anime is like, you know what I mean? Anime that's just one of those things sometimes, just how the cards are dealt. You can basically like an intro more than an outro, but then sometimes you can also just like both of them equally. Like, you know what I mean? You can both like them equally, because like, it's just like, yeah. But no, the Windbreaker outro is great, because obviously that's It's Myself by Shoe Tape, so that one is beautiful. That one is gorgeous. I'm like, and I couldn't get it out of my head after watching it as well, and I put it in my anime playlist, which I might put in the description, but I mean, I'll see. I like to, especially with my anime playlist, actually, I like to keep that, just mainly because why I do that is because, like, everyone has different animes that they like, and then I don't want somebody saying to me, like, exactly, someone might make my anime playlist feel like a ranking list on Letterboxd type of thing, where somebody will stumble upon it and be like, that's not right. They'll be like, oh, this should not be your number one. And I'm like, please, no. because obviously, like, my anime playlist exactly is so, like, it's all up and down, really. But the fact of the matter is, like, it has all the favorite animes that I like in there, and it has, obviously, yeah, intros and outros. Like, do you know what I mean? Intros, outros, instrumentals. Intros, outros, instrumentals. That's how it goes. Honestly, that is the order. Because obviously I have some what's it called? I have some like instrumentals, I suppose, from Studio Ghibli. So obviously that's why that's in there. Sometimes I thought to myself I wanted to separate it, but then I was like, nah. Like, I sometimes thought that like it would be good to separate the Studio Ghibli soundtracks, but then I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to. Like, I was like, I feel like it's quite it still follows the theme. The whole idea of that is from an anime, and that's just the way that it is, really. Anyways, last but not least, in the favorite animes list is Fruit Basket. I remember I was going to be doing an episode of Fruit Basket just alone, but then I was like, nah. I was like, why not sandwich it and just put it amongst others? And I was like, yeah. But I'm obviously talking about Fruit Basket's Lost because it's one of my favorite animes. And obviously, no, guys, don't judge me, because people will be like, oh, they like the old version of Fruit Baskets more than the recent one, and that's all well and fine. I like that, I like the story in general, so this is why we don't really need to nitpick over over the older version or the newer one. Like, the storyline is still the same. Like, I'm just saying to you guys, I'm pleading my case because I just want to make that crystal clear. I'm like, don't worry about that. I like Fruit Baskets overall. I just basically, exactly, when I was watching it, exactly, I found the recent one first, because Fruit Basket came out in the what's it called? What do you call it? The updated one. Yeah, the updated one came out in 2019. So obviously that's when I basically found it. And I feel like also in 2019 was basically it was my huge peak of basically being into anime. It's crazy because every time I talk about my, what do you call it, anime origins, I'm like, the people, I never really was into anime like by myself. I just mean I was introduced to anime, as you are, but I was introduced to anime, so it wasn't really necessarily mine for a long time. So it's more of the thing that, like, I got into it quite late, if that makes sense, because I was watching it when I was little, but then I didn't really have any really to call my own. Like, that's what I mean. I didn't have any to call my own. It was more of a thing where I was watching ones that my brother liked, and I was like, sure, man. I was like, whatever, I'm here. So I'm not gonna leave, so I just like, thank you. Well, like, thank you so much. But I was like, cool. Now I'm gonna go on my own path, and I'm just gonna find my own. Do you know what I mean? And it's been a great journey. It's been a wonderful journey. I think I should also add another anime into my honorable mentions, because probably one that was the Kickstarter of my anime journey. And I just mean, yes, the Kickstarter, because I mean, of course, one of the first of like having my own animes, right? Because obviously my first proper one was like, yeah, I was watching all the old ones, like what's the word, like Dragon Ball Z and like Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's basically it. Like, I was watching, honestly, when I was really young, I was watching those ones. And then obviously then as I got older, I went into Attack on Titan. Duh. I went into Guilty Crown, which is an honorable mention, which I will be discussing later. So I went into Guilty Crown. That's a very good one. And then no, because basically the funny thing, exactly, I was on Netflix basically in my early days of anime, and it's like it's crazy because you hear like when people say that they've watched anime for a long time, that like they've been in the trenches and they've been on like sites, and you know what I mean, they've been in war, bro. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't do any of that. I didn't do any of that. I mean, like, I remember when also the days when I used to use Funimation, and I used to use someone's Funimation. So this is the thing, I've actually never paid for any anime subscription in my life. And like, honestly, release yourself from the shackles, because it's just not worth it. Like, honestly, this is why, honestly, like, a lot of streaming stuff, yeah, insert the McMahon meme. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It just uses up all your money, and it's just too much. And then there's other avenues. Yeah, there's other avenues. And you know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't need to say it on air. I don't need to say it. You just know. And I know that you know. So, exactly. But there'll be people who exactly use Crunchyroll and use Funimation. And yeah, I used to be on Funimation in those days. And I was watching Fruit Basket on Funimation. So when it was still on, I used to watch Fruit Basket on Funimation. And then obviously I was like, well, I don't use this anymore. And especially, of course, I didn't want to use a subscription because it wasn't mine. I was like, what am I doing using somebody's subscription? It doesn't even belong to me. I was like, no. I know that we all have our ways, do you know what I mean? And we'll always, do you know what I mean? We'll always find our ways. But I was like, I don't need to be doing this anymore. I don't need to be doing it anymore. But no, of course, starting on Netflix was great for me, though, really. I like that I started out there. I wouldn't have wanted to start out anywhere else. I'm being so for real. I wouldn't have wanted to start out anywhere else. But again, I take my hat off to you guys, though. 100%. I do. Honestly, at ease. Oh my gosh, while on the subject of Fruit Baskets, yes, because I was saying how I saw, it felt like 12, the new K-drama, was similar to Fruit Basket because it was about zodiacs. So I was like, oh, you guys kind of like, you know what I mean? But I wasn't like, oh my gosh, you guys copied them. No, because of course if they did, they wouldn't have been able to make it. 100% they wouldn't have, because we all know copyright exists. Copyright exists, and it can be, you know, a huge sword. So obviously I was like, oh, I thought that they would just, well, they kind of probably didn't really steal it, as I said. They just took inspiration from it. That was my thing. It wasn't like they stole it, because we would know, because that's what I mean. The show wouldn't have been able to been on. It wouldn't have been able to run. So, but that was my first thought anyway. I think I really did like 12, just because, I guess, because it had that same storyline. Because it was really interesting just following, the 12 Zodiacs. And that was similar, of course, to, Toru and finding the 12 Zodiacs and like coming across them, and like also being their, their beacon of light, being their glue as well. Like, they all needed Toru like so bad. Like, this is the thing, they all thought they were doing fine before she came. They weren't. They weren't. Again, it's like what I was saying earlier. Again, it's like these are thinking that they're all right. You're not. You need assistance and you need help immediately. And especially the Fruit Basket gang, because they were there with what's her name, with Fibin, with the person, with the one that was the top of their team or their group, Akito. Yeah, they were there with Akito, and Akito was their number one villain, and they needed saving. They needed saving, and they weren't going to save themselves. This is the craziest thing. They weren't going to do it. Toru came there and was like, stand up. Like, actually stand up right now. Like, what are you doing? And Akito did some heinous crimes. She did heinous crimes. Like, it was crazy. Like, she was also so, like, what's the word? Yeah, she was a micromanager. She was possessive. Possessive, obsessive. She was all the essences. She was all of them. She was very scary. And I don't know, I want to say I've hated a character more than Akito, but like, Yeah. When I was watching Fruit Basket, I hated her so much. I was like, no. And they wanted us to feel sorry for her as well. But I said, wrap it up. I won't do it. You won't get me to. I love how they try to do that. Like, writers will love to make you feel sympathy for, like, complex characters. But I said no. I really said no. And now you're still trying to make it work. It's not gonna happen. Sorry, buddy. Like, it's just not gonna happen. They're like, why not? And I said, I don't want to. Because exactly, like, even Akoto was like, what was it? And exactly, they say she's the main antagonist, which she is. There was nobody else. There was nobody else who was the issue here. I'm just like, she was so jarring, bro. Why was she annoyed? And then, exactly, she was doing crazy things. See, pushed her off a window. Yeah. She was doing mad stuff, bro. She was doing mad stuff. And exactly, she used to abuse Yuki. And this is what I mean. They showed us Akoto's story because it was a fact that she was obviously at the top of the chain. And then also I think she had also been abused too. So I don't know, but they just wanted to have that kind of lens to it where because she was abused, she obviously abused others. And she abused Yuki. And I was like, no, what do you mean she's abusing Yuki? Like, he's also, understand that Yuki's he's one of the smallest zodiacs. He's supposed to be a rat or a mouse or whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing? If anything, go after, like, even though actually, when I say go after, she went after literally everybody in the Zodiacs. And I'm like, you're going after at least, like, 11 people. Aside from yourself. Like, 11. That's a lot to do. Like, don't you have anything else to do? Like, you know what I mean? But, like, aren't you the boss? You have other stuff to do, bro. For sure you do. Like, I don't know why you're doing this. It's crazy. This is why I needed this last few minutes, guys. This is why I left Fruit Baskets for last. I will stand on that hill, man. I'll stay there. Like, people be like, you die on that hill. But no, I'm like, I'll just put my head on the block. Like, I don't care. I don't like Akoto, and I'm the number one Akoto hater. But even though I'm probably not, because it's an actual generalized thing. Lots of people don't like Akoto. And the same way how I said lots of people don't like Takumi either. It's not even a question. And if somebody said, oh my gosh, innit, brother, ew, if anyone said to me they like Takumi, I would actually throw up. It's the same. I would be sick in my mouth. But actually, I'd just walk away, to be honest. No, for sure. I'd walk away. I bet you, and funny enough, I bet you it would be a man. Right? A man would be like, oh, Takumi's not even that bad. It's like, oh yeah, you would know. You would know. Because you're like, oh, you're saying that because you not understand. That's what it is. you understand and you can sympathize because you know how it is. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Anyways, guys, final bits is honorable mentions. But also, I might have to choose at least 4 because I had a few. So I'm going to have to, like, dial it a bit. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. And I'm like, hold on, this is my podcast page. I can do whatever I want. Yeah. Honestly, I just needed that moment. I'm like, hold on, I can do whatever I want. So, yeah. Anyways, honorable mentions. First on the list is Kamisama. Sorry. Restart. Anyways, sorry. I love, like, it's like sometimes I like to put bloopers in here for you guys because why not? You should get me unhinged and at my absolute best. But no, Kami-sama, because I sometimes say it wrong, but I should say it like how they say it in the song, you know, in the intro. But Kami-sama, like that, but it is exactly the same, so I don't know why I didn't say it right. But yes, Kami-sama kiss. But so exactly, that's a very good one as well. Like that again, that's why it's on my honorable mentions because it is one of my favorites. So obviously, Kami-sama kiss was with the guy with, what's her name again? I also wanted to like dress up as her one day actually. I think her name is Nanami. So exactly. And that anime is so funny. It's so funny and it's so like it makes you think of like it's almost like a brain rot anime or something. But I don't know. I don't know why, but I just mean because it's so like it's so unserious. It makes me also think about Fruit Basket as well because that's what's so weird about Fruits Basket. Like it has a lot of trauma in it, and it like honestly it has a lot of trauma in it. Fruit Basket does, but it also has a lot of funny moments. Like, do you know what I mean? You know when you think of somebody like what's that guy's name again? Yeah, the guy from Ayame. When you think of Ayame, he's seriously funny. And he was funny the whole entire anime. And I'm just mean like exactly. So hilarious, so funny, and I'm just saying like even Kamisama Kiss has that too. Like the anime is so hilarious when it's like the anime is actually going through something really serious. She's about to take on being a what's it called? A shrine god or whatever? Yeah. So she gives her house and she turns and she becomes the new deity. And I obviously really like that one. And again, with the music thing, again with the music element, great intro, great outro, like, no question. Like, great intro, great outro. Actually, before quickly just to touch on, actually, because then this is not on my honorable mentions list, but just to add it in quickly. Samurai Champloo, of course. And I think to myself, does Samurai Champloo have, like, the best kind of... I don't know. I want to say that, but it's like too much. It's like too much. A great like music score. Do you get it? It has a great music score. Like everything in Samurai Champloo is great. And I remember it was produced or the music was made by Nujabes. So this is what I'm saying. that is a very, very good anime and also just has great music to back it up. Same way with what's it? Yeah, same way with exactly how I said Gattaca's on my honorable mentions, and that Gattaca has a great music soundtrack too. And obviously it's doing very well with like the inclusion of black characters and making them just serve and just eat every single time. And we need that. We need that. It seems like, because this is the thing, like I always think about, because I was meant to do an episode actually, guys. I'm going to do an episode on black characters in media, and I was like, why is it that I feel like sometimes anime used to actually be bad at this? That's the funny thing, actually. They were very backwards in the probably very early days, but they got better though, actually. They did get better. So, you know what I mean? Round of applause. They generally got better, and I feel like exactly they've come a long way. But I know that they really do a good job at doing it. Like, I just think, like, you know what I mean? When we think of like Hollywood or any of those like kind of shows, sometimes they really don't do black characters justice. But that's just my little tidbit, because if I end up doing an episode for you guys, do you know what I mean? It will be a good one. So I would probably say more. I love Naname and Tomoe, and I think they're really cute. They're so adorable. Yeah, but because obviously he what's the word? He also like exactly. They're also a slow burn again, which again like animes have that a lot. But they're a slow burn, and obviously Tomoe didn't want to be with her, but he fought that until he couldn't fight it anymore. And I said, yeah, of course not. You know what? Obviously, Kamisama Kiss makes me think of also that film. You know the film, the anime film where it's got that guy with the mask on. It's that, because obviously, like, it's just similar because the guy was wearing a fox mask. I think that film's called like, is it something? I forget what it's called, but I think, like, if you guys know, actually, say in the comments, because actually I can't remember right now. But when I saw that fox mask from that film, I immediately thought of Tomoe anyways. So, yeah, I feel like I need another anime like Kamisama Kiss, and I think maybe that's why I think the only one that really, does more justice then Kamisama Kiss is probably Apothecary Diaries. Yeah, I just mean that they are in league with each other. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm saying that because, like, yeah, they're on the same level, and I feel like it's good when you have something exactly that can fill the absence of something else. You know, I miss Cameron Sama Kiss, but then I feel like Apple Fairy Diaries does that for me. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, I just constructed a sentence. I was like, sorry, that took me a long time because I was trying to make it make sense and flow. On the honorable mentions is JJK, and of course, JJK is so good. And obviously, oh my gosh, guys, remember the Jujutsu Kaisen movie is coming out end of this year? Yeah, December. It's coming out December. And then also I think then they're starting Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 like next year. I think so. But I know that because they did the trailer for season 3 the other day. So I know that it's on its way. And it's just like, wow, where is it going to go next? And I feel so sorry for Yuji because he's been through so much, and I hope that he manages to be able to survive. Because you know what's so crazy even about Jujutsu Kaisen? We start out with knowing exactly, they're like to us, oh, our main character is gonna get executed, and we're like, hold on, we just started the program, and then it's like, oh, okay, no, he's not gonna get executed, but he is gonna be in danger, and then he is also going to eat fingers and have this god inside of him, and the god will also come out whenever he wants as well. And then yeah, but Sukuna's you know what I mean? Sukuna's not a bad guy. But I mean, yeah. I mean, it depends who you ask. But I also feel like, again, Sukuna's a complex character. Like I said earlier, complex characters, they are good, but they just have layers, and they're not exactly bad people. Same way, when I think about Toji, Toji forgets his son every 5 minutes, but he asked Gojo to look after him while he was dying. So really, in that big moment, in that lapse moment, he was like, okay, hold on, I do remember my son actually, and I need you to look after him now, when I've passed away. And I think I was watching a YouTube video, and he just passes away while standing up. Who dies standing up? I was like, whatever. But no, and I think also then my other exactly favourite scene from Jujutsu Kaisen was when obviously he was fighting Megumi, and he stopped fighting him because he realised that he was fighting his son. You know what I mean? He realised that, because I swear he wasn't in control of his body, but then he looked and he was like, wow, hold on, that's my son, really? That's my son! That's my boy! Okay, yeah, sorry. I had to do that because, you know what I mean, I just thought of Harry Potter, but exactly. He saw Megumi and he was like, man, this guy's handsome. He looks just like me, bro. He looks just like me. So he said that, and then, he just stabbed himself in the head. I know, gory. I know, gory graphic. Yeah, he stabbed himself in the head, and that was it. He was finished. He was done. But I think that was just really gorgeous, really. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see how the story unfolds, to be honest. Next on the honorable mentions list is Cowboy Bebop. And the Cowboy Bebop is, I would say, yeah, Cowboy Bebop is considered a fan favorite. But yeah, I mean, hey, some of the on this list are also fan favorites. It's just I always think about myself and my I don't know, anime expertise. Weird thing to say, but I just mean I don't necessarily like the popular animes. Even guys, even when I'm anime functions, it's sometimes I don't even know the songs there, and it's that's because they're not the animes that for one thing, they're not animes that I grew up on, and then two, I don't watch them. This is what I mean. I don't watch One Piece. I haven't watched Naruto, and that's why it's just I just, what am I going to do? I just stand there and I'm just oh, okay. But this thing, and I always think that my anime, I don't know, yeah, my anime collection, maybe in a way, is very what's the word? Is it versatile? I was gonna say diverse, but I was like, no. Diverse is to do with color, but I just meant that, like, I just mean that it spans over different genres. And I also it's weird. I'm gonna say that, am I very lazy? Kind of. It's just like people say to you to watch One Piece, and it's like, no, because, and it's not even like, oh, I think I would hate One Piece. No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's definitely because it's too long, and it's just like, I love animes in the way that they are when they're like 20 minutes long, and you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that with average shows, guys. Like, think of like a K-drama. You need like a lot of energy and concentration to sit down and watch a 50-minute episode 1 of a K-drama, or either sometimes episode 1s of K-dramas like vary. They can either be 50 minutes or 1 hour and 15. So you're gonna need a lot of concentration. And the fact of the matter is, like, animes are 20 minutes, and it's like, but then you want me to do 20 minutes for like, bro, I can't even do the maths. But it's just a lot though. Like, it's gonna make my brain hurt. I was like, it's going to be a lot of different sitting. It's going to be like, because this is the thing, like, I also thought that Attack on Titan had lots of anime episodes too, but when you really put it together and then you see the big altogether number, it's crazy. And also Hunter x Hunter, like I said earlier, that number's large too. But I swear One Piece is the highest, because I know that it spans over like 200, or like, yeah, it's just too high. So this is the craziest thing. If I was to get into it now, oh my gosh, that would be insane. I don't even know how long it would take me. I don't even know. And as a person, because I know how I am as a viewer, it would take me ages. Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't even touch on Cowboy Bebop all that much. But like, obviously, yes, Cowboy Bebop is about Spike Spiegel. And I obviously, you know, one that obviously is in league with Cowboy Bebop is damn. What's that one called with the T? Can't believe I forgot it. Trigun, dearie me. That was one of my favorites too, actually. And I watched Trigun like a really long time ago. But yeah, I really liked Trigun as well. So, that's one that I would say is on the same league actually as Cowboy Bebop, because they're both like, you know, obviously, yeah, Cowboy Bebop and both Trigun, they're both very what's the word, apocalyptic, same way that like Dragon Ball Z is too, because of course Dragon Ball Z is based in like, I don't even know where they are, but they're like, they're on like a floating thing in the sky, I guess, right? And then obviously Spike's on a ship and he's in space, and then Trigun, he's in the desert, I'm sure. Yeah, he's in the desert. So this is what I'm saying. It's not very like they're in modern areas. They're basically in like the countryside. So that's why I would feel like they're on the same. And Trigun was actually, yeah, Trigun's very funny. And then I just say that like Spike is funny. He's also a very complex character. Shout out to the song Greenbird, because I have to, yeah, I love Greenbird. I love Greenbird, and I love the scene where Greenbird plays as well. Right? And you guys are like, why Spike falls through a window during then? I don't care. I don't care. That song is great. And I think, yeah, the song's great, and I feel like it just has a very, like, it just fits the scene perfectly. And that's what I love actually about intros anyways. I like, because exactly, that's what I'm going to actually wrap up on, because actually I was going to talk about Dan to Dan. And obviously I was going to talk to you guys about Gattaca, but I might actually save that for the future. But obviously, like I was going to say about intros, and I was going to say that I love that how intros always match the open, like they always match the vibe of an anime, and I think that's great. You know, like Departure, like Hunter x Hunter, like that's very good. Because obviously it's supposed to be a very motivating song, because, you know, they're out here doing tests and, you know, wanting to, yeah, learn different things and get stronger, basically. Same way with like different songs in like Hero Academia as well. That was my favorite one. Like, actually, that's my favorite My Hero Academia intro. I think that's my favorite one. I don't have another one. I'm also catching up on that as well. So yeah, but and I liked the newest Dan to Dan intro, and of course at first, guys, it had to grow on me, and that's crazy because it's Heat. But like at first, it's just like I think for me, every time an anime changes intro, I feel like it's such a switch for me. So it's quite hard actually. I sometimes think for me to just immediately be like, yeah, I like this, because I'm like, wait. I think it's because I'm like I feel like I always think to myself, I just got attached to the last one. Then you changed it, and I was like, oh, okay. But it's like because I know that they like to change it because it's a whole different because when the story changes, it's a whole different atmosphere, so they want to change it to a new song in order to match that new kind of arc, so to speak. But yeah, it's just very interesting, and obviously exactly that intro took a long time to warm like obviously yeah, like really interest me. But then I guess after a few times I really liked it and it made my anime playlist. So yeah, and obviously you guys were so lucky because I'm gonna share that with you. I hope you enjoy it. I suppose I hope that you enjoy it, even though actually I also need to check also if it's not like I need to check if it's not private because it may be. There's some places I really don't share with people, and I think that's the thing that we all do. There's just some places we don't want to share with people. Because, there's so much that goes into making a playlist. Like, honestly, there's so much that goes into it. And it's very, very, it's very precious. So that's why I'm like, yeah, you guys are so lucky. And, I'm only giving it to you guys because, you're special and you listen to me app. And I think that's a beautiful commitment from you guys. Because it's funny because my podcast is very so much and I feel like some can be short, some can be long, like this one. But you guys know actually, if one is longer, I feel like it's either that I really love the subject I'm talking about or actually, yeah, either I love subject I'm really talking about or then number two, I basically sometimes run out of things to say. But I feel like you sometimes don't run out of things to say when you really, really love something. 100%. When you do, you really don't. But I know that exactly when they're long, you guys know. That's your sign. That's your sign, that's your note. You know that I really like this subject that I'm talking about. So you might as well buckle in. Basically, you might as well buckle in and put your feet up. And I'm glad that you guys stayed to the end of this episode, coming up to what is it? 1 hour and 21. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. And yes, I will be talking about Gattaca soon because Gattaca rules. Bye.